Bonjour, Sunge Panasik Nadijnakas, Name Tota Nishanong Doche. Hi, my name is Strong Thunderbird from the Sturgeon clan, and I am from Mishkeegogamang First Nation. I just want to tell you a little bit about Mishkeegogamang and its history in a video emphasizing on the dates of the historic events that Mishkeegogamang has back in the 1600s to 2020. Mishkeegogamang is not bounded by its defined places along the highway of 599, but from different outposts from Minako Lake, 150 kilometers north of Main Reserve, to Fichi Lake, 100 kilometers south, and is sheltered by the surrounding bush of areas known as the traditional territories of Mishkeegogamang people. The Anishinaabe people first met the white people in the early 1600s. The Hudson Bays Company established posts on Hudson's Bay and James Bay, and then traders moved between the Great Lakes and Hudson Bay to find furs. Trapping animals for their skins and meat go back to the beginning of the Anishinaabe history. Trapping changed dramatically when white traders began to push into Ojibwe territory in the 1600s. In 1786, the Hudson Bays Company built a trading post on the shore of Lake St. Joseph near the mouth of the Albany River and called it Osnaburg. Until around 1850, the family groups were often known as clan groups. These clans were exogamous, which means one could not marry a member of his or her own clan. Each small group had leaders for reasons: the chief hunters, the people knowledgeable about medicine, the leaders in the war, the intellectual, stargazers, etc. Sometimes an elder would be respected by many family groups to be the unofficial leader and representative in the time of war and negotiation. The residential school was established and was required by Indigenous children to attend in the 1880s. Mishkeegogamang people were taken from their homes and placed into schools elsewhere where homes were available. Mishkeegogamang was affected until the last school closure in 1996. This led to the lack of parenting skills, the lack of language, the loss of sense and their purpose as an Indigenous person. In 1905, the people who generally traded at Osnaburg House signed Treaty No. 9. And was known as the birthplace. In conjunction, two reserves were allotted in the treaty, 63A and 63B. The Sucker, Loon, Caribou, Sturgeon, and Bear clans are represented among Mishkeegogamang members. The hydro installation built at Rat Rapids in 1934 is no longer in operation due to the flooding that happened in 1957. Lake St. Joseph used to flow into the Albany River, but it was diverted in 1957 so it would flow west through Root River and from there into the English and Winnipeg River systems for hydro to the western part of Ontario and eastern Manitoba. The level of Lake St. Joseph varies with the water needs to the west. It is regulated by sluiceways at Rat Rapids and Cedar Rapids. Both the hydro installation and diversions of Lake St. Joseph caused extensive flood damage to the reserves. The community is now getting its power from Ear Falls. The settlement with Ontario Hydro for damages caused by the flooding that resulted in bodies who were laid to rest peacefully came out of the ground and floated along the lake and washed up on shores was reached in 1999 with a payout for the community happening in 2013. The completion of Highway 599 in 1954 from Savant Lake to an earlier mine road brought great social change to Mishkeegogamang. The highway was several kilometers from the Osnaburg village, 63A, so the government encouraged people to move to the new village of 63B, which is now known as the main reserve. The name New Osnaburg, or Osnaburg House, was changed to Mishkeegogamang First Nation, which translates to Swampy Lake, in 1993. The Mishkeegogamang Health Center was built in 1998 and still stands to this day with new buildings that support life change, finding our language, new ways of life, Alcohol Anonymous, and supporting our future generations to live on. James Mescash was a respected Mishkeegogamang elder who passed on many stories and traditions. He died at the age of 104 in the year 2000. He will always be the chief and father of Mishkeegogamang people. He was just a very young boy who saw Chief m.e.a.motabik sign the treaty back in 1905. The m.e.a.motabik Community School, the new school for the reserve of Mishkeegogamang, was completed in 2001 for $7.5 million. With 12 classrooms, its maximum capacity holds 255 students from kindergarten to grade 8, and as of the year 2019-2020 school year, had a total of 225 children registered. As of 2015-2017, there have been over 1,000 graduates from Mishkeegogamang in post-secondary institutions. As of March 2020, COVID-19 in Mishkeegogamang has changed the way the community does things. We are no longer allowed to gather, no longer allowed to be near or feast with one another. It is truly a change in our way of life, but as Mishkeegogamang people, we will always persevere and change our views to reflect onto the children of tomorrow, who is our purpose, our way of life, and to pass on traditions that will live on forever. Miigwech, Mishkeegogamang, Miigwech, listeners, Miigwech to the land we walk on from our children of yesterday. Miigwech for taking the time to listen, and Creator, Chimiigwech, Chimiigwech, Chimiigwech.